Hey everybody, Neil Malek with Knack Training here, bringing you another Everyday Office video. In today's video, you can see my face. This is the first of the series of videos called Ask Everyday Office. So the concept is simple. Once a week, I'm going to be coming on here with an email or a tweet at me where something interesting was asked and I want to explore it a little bit more thoroughly. You can email us help@knacktraining.com. You can tweet us with the hashtag AskEO, or you can tweet at us at the AskEvOff Twitter handle. I have a guy, Jared, working with me to track those things and make sure that I hit all the really interesting questions that come up. So in today's video, we're going to be addressing a question from somebody named Allison I worked with a couple of months back, and she sent an email about Microsoft Excel. So basically the concept here is that she has these agendas where something is happening at a particular point in time for a specific duration of time, and then she wants to be able to calculate what the next time is for the next event. So if there's a topic at 8:30, then that took 10 minutes, then we want to automatically have in the next column over something that says the next topic starts at 8:40, right? Makes sense, right? And so what I figured here is there is a little bit more depth to this that we can explore. I want to make sure that we take the time that's necessary to really interact with this and feel like we really grasp what's going on. So I want you to see inside my brain when we work on this. Okay, so first things first, you need to know in Excel how dates and times are handled. Every date, every time in Microsoft Excel is just a number value. And the dates, like 1/1/2017, that's a whole number value. And then the time. So if it's on 1/1/2017 and it's at 1:27 in the afternoon, that is a percentage of a whole number or a decimal number. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in an Excel spreadsheet. So if I pop open a fresh Excel spreadsheet, one of the easiest things you can do is use the today function, $TODAY, open close parentheses, and that will insert today's date. As you can see, it's the 19th right there. And in the same way, $NOW, open close parentheses, and it'll tell you the time. Notice that this time tells me that it is 2024 or 8:24 in the evening on September 19th. Now, all you have to do is take any date, highlight that date, and then convert it from date formatting up there at the top to general formatting. And what you'll notice is that today's date of 9/19/2018 is actually 43,362, and the time that it is right now is 43,362.85008, which means we're about 85% of the way through the day. Makes sense, right? And so what happens if I type in that something's happening at 9 a.m.? So I type in a 9, a colon, 00, and I hit enter. Now, I can go back to that, click on it, and again, switch it over to this general format, and you'll see that 9 a.m. is the same thing as saying 0.375. But notice it's just 0.375 because I've just told it that we're talking about 9 o'clock in the morning on today, but not necessarily today, just 9 o'clock in the morning. So all we care about is the fraction. We don't care about the whole number at that point. So let's say that we cared about, let's say, a 2-hour stretch, right? It's easy enough to say that something starts at 8:30, right? So you type in an 8, a colon, and then the 30, and you hit enter. And then you have to say the next thing is going to happen at 8:45. So I'm going to type in 8:45. And let's see what it looks like to subtract those two things from one another. So in the cell directly below, I'll do equal sign, and I'll take 8:45, which is in cell A6, subtract what's in cell A5, and hit enter. And you can see there that it gives me that as 15 minutes. But it also gives it to me if I click directly on it, and again, I take the formatting off of that, make it general formatting, 15 minutes is 0.01041166, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So what you need to know is that when you enter something that's supposed to be an amount of time into Microsoft Excel, you need to make sure that Excel recognizes it as time. You can't just say, oh yeah, it's 15 minutes, and you type in the number 15, because the number 15 is something completely different. Number 15 is like 15 days after January 1st, 1900. We don't want that. So instead, what we're going to do here is we're always going to recognize that we need to put this in as a time value so that Excel recognizes it and allows us to calculate. So let me open up a new sheet, and let's make a little table here. We'll say there is the start time, there is the end time, there is the duration, there is the break, right? And so for item number 1, and so this is event, right? Okay, so we've got start time, end time, duration, break, and event. And I'm just going to make this a little prettier. That's fine. Great, very exciting. And I'll take off the grid lines. Okay. So we have event number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. And we know that the first one starts at, let's say 9 a.m., right? So we type in 9:00. And then we say the end time for that is 9:25. Now, to figure out the duration between those two things is fairly straightforward. We could do equal sign 925, which is in cell B4, subtract cell A4 and hit enter, and it'll tell us that's 25 minutes. Again, the 0:25 right there. Now, if there's no break, great, we just say 0:00 as our break time. And then we can say, okay, the start time for the next event is whatever the end time is plus however much break there is. So equal sign the end time plus the break time. And we see there that the start of the next thing is at 9:25. And then the end time of the next thing is at 9:45. And then we can just auto-fill down the function there for the duration, right? So 9:25, 9:45, that's 20 minutes, 0:20. And then we say the break is 0:10. And then again, we can auto-fill down the start time to say the next one is at 9:55, which is, of course, 9:45 plus a 10-minute break. So that's one direction we can go. And if we know what the start times and end times are, we can subtract those, figure out what the duration is. We can add the break time as long as it's in there as a recognized 10 minutes with the 0:10 there, then we're good to go. The way she was talking about it, of course, she didn't know what the end time was, but she knew what the duration was. And so in the same way, if you said that the start time was 10:25, and the duration was 0:30, then all you have to do is add those two things, right? So take the 10:25, that's in cell A9 right there, plus sign, and then cell C9, and it tells you that 10:55 is the end time if the duration is 30 minutes. So now let's go just one layer deeper than this, because as you've seen so far, all I've been doing is typing in the 0:15 or 0:25, stuff like that. And I do that because it automatically detects that we're talking about time and so converts it into time, which is just a fraction, right? But if you want to make it as user-friendly as possible, you really don't want people to have to always type in 0:10. You know, the worst part is if you forget the 0 before the colon, then it's just :10 and it's just the letters, it's just like characters. So we don't want that. Instead, what we want to be able to do is allow our folks to type in the number 15 and have Excel automatically convert that into 15 minutes. So that's going to require math. So let's see how that would work. I'm going to go over to a new sheet here. All right, so let's say that I was talking about 15 minutes, right? So there's the number 15, and let's talk about 15 minutes, 0:15. Now, 0:15 is not actually the number 15. It is instead, if we go up here to the top, it is 0.010417. Of course it is. That makes total sense. Okay, if that's the case, we need to know what the math is that gets us from the number 15 to 15 minutes. And that's easy enough to do. Right here, I'll do equal sign, and then just do the 15 divided by the 0.010417. And it tells us that that is a factor of 1,440 different, 1,440 different. Okay, so if that's the case, then really what we can do is we can set up math that will consistently convert the number 15 into 15 minutes. And that would be going the opposite direction, right? So 15, if we type that in, and then we divided it by 1440. So we do equal sign, 15 divided by 1440 gets us the number value. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. Let's go to one more sheet and see how this would come together. All right, so here's the new sheet. Again, I'm going to turn off my grid lines. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to highlight and bold and center. Okay, so we have the start time, the end time, the duration, the break, and the event. We go ahead and highlight those, stretch them out a little bit, and colorize them. So if we have a start time of 9:30, and we don't know what the end time is, but we know that we want our duration to be, let's say, 35 minutes. What we need to be able to do is take that 35 and convert it into 35 minutes. And the same way, if we say the break is 10 minutes long, we need to be able to convert the break into 10 minutes instead of the number 10. So I'm just going to come in here, right-click on this column and insert a new column there. Right-click on this column and insert a column there. And this will be the true duration and the true break. And remember what it is. It's take the number that we've typed in and divide it by 1440. And that will convert it into the proper number of minutes. Equal sign 10 divided by 1440. Again, convert it into the true number of minutes. And the end time is the start time plus the true duration, not plus 35. Plus 35 would get us the wrong answer. See there, 9:30 plus 35 minutes is 10:05. Looking good. So now we just go ahead and autofill this down for the rest of the column. We autofill this down for the rest of the column. Now, what we can do is go to cell A5, and of course the start time is always the end time plus the break, right? So equal sign, end time, plus not 10, right? 10 is not the right number here. The right number is the true break time, that calculated value right there. 10:15, right? 10:05 plus 10 minutes is 10:15. Of course it is. End time, right? That's equal sign. And we can do that from here. We can autofill these down. We can autofill these down like that. Great. And now we can hide the true duration, right-click and hide that column, hide the true break, right-click and hide that column. So if we say the duration of the next thing is 50 minutes with a 10-minute break, and the duration of the next thing is 30 minutes with a 0-minute break, and the duration of the next thing is 20 minutes with a 10-minute break, And then duration of the next thing is 45 minutes with a 5-minute break, and the duration of the next thing is 50 minutes with a 10-minute break. Look at that, right? It automatically goes from 9:30 to 10:05, from 10:05 to 10:15, from 10:15 to 11:05, from 11:05 to 11:15, and on and on and on all the way down. And we're able to type in true numbers for the number of minutes and have that automatically spit that out correctly. Now, notice here, we are going to want to type in, let's say it's a 2-hour duration, we'll want to type in 120 minutes, right? So right here next to the word duration, we might put in minutes. And for break again, we might put in minutes, right? So right here, we might say it's 120 minutes with a 20-minute break, and then it's 90 minutes with a 10-minute break, etc. All right, so really the crux of the problem here is that when people deal with time, they assume that Excel is really just talking about real whole numbers. I want to be in something for 20 minutes or for 60 minutes or for 120 minutes. But the reality of the situation is that 20 and 60 and 120, these are numbers that represent dates, because those are full day values, full number values, whereas times are fractions, they're percentages, because an hour is just 1/24th of a day. And because of all that, we can either type in our times, so they look like times, right, with a 0:30 or something like that, or we can type in the times as the minute value, right? The 30 or the 50 or the 45. But then we have to do math to convert it into minutes. And that's how time works, calculation of time works in Excel. Hope you guys got something valuable out of today's session. I'll see you next week.